All right, listen up, you broke bumbucklet. You guys trying to make some real money? Then you're stuck in this meme coin space, just constantly losing stuff, either trading or even launching your own coins. You might even go on YouTube, like searching up how to rug, and then getting fucked up by all of these like new methods, May method, April method, whatever stuff, and you just keep on losing your money. Well, if you actually want to print, then you have to follow the one and only method, which differs from, what most people say you should do. Most people say that you should just, you know, put on some filters, go on deck screener, run some, research on fucking X and social media, then go on one of these projects and then basically try and get in early. But the reality is, you guys know that you guys are not gonna get in here and exit out here. Let's just be fucking honest. You clicked on this video because you sat here wondering why the fuck do you enter around here, and you keep on selling your stuff after it gets rugged. Well, today I'm gonna teach you the dark side.
This channel doesn't promote any illegal activities, and all actions performed in this video are performed for educational and entertainment purposes only.
How to actually rug, and basically the reason being is that people who make the most money are the people who buy here. If you go into any coin, one thing will always be the same: the top trader is the dev. The dev is the developer, guys. The developer makes the most money. Look, boom, that's his one wallet. He has split that into multiple wallets. You can see he didn't buy anything. Most likely, these tokens were put into his wallet by the dev. So that means he is the dev. And then boom, you just stack all of these up, all of these profits. And you guys can see behind this project that went up to almost a milli. Man's probably stacked, 50K, 50 grand, easy. So I'm going to teach you this method, which requires a lot of work, genuinely. Like, normally you would have a whole project, so you'd need your social media, your Telegram, your website. As this one doesn't even have a fucking website yet. It's still bounced up. So basically, it's just marketing is what you need to learn, really, and having a solid narrative. So I go over these like bullet points of what you need to have for your coin to be a successful launch, which are the first three main principle is it has to be within the narrative. So something that's trending right now, that's pretty self-explanatory. Something within a bubble of a meme. So let's say X or Elon is the meme. There's many sub bubbles within this narrative, like Elon's dog would be a coin. Depending on how good the narrative is, will determine how good the coin does. Second is launch time, which means when the US, the UK, and maybe even the Australia servers are awake and ready to buy, because the time that you launch your coin does actually impact it a lot. And then three is just details, your socials, everything has to be on point. Your description, which I recommend, this is a separate point, go into GPT and ask it for 80 words. Why the fuck is this so laggy, bro? Basically, ask it for an 80-word Gen Z description, or 150, it doesn't matter. This plus a good website, plus a good logo, plus a good, name, the ticker. That's the process, the prep. Let's say this is the prep. Now, when it comes to actually launching a coin, do you go on fucking Pump.Fun and click create coin and then you just plug all that shit in? No, you fucking don't. Pump.Fun is ass. It is poo poo. This is a little poop I'll draw for you guys right here. Pump.Fun is poo poo. Why? Look at every single one of these fucking projects. Everything is a rug. I'll go into a random setting and you see everything goes up and then it drops down. 90% of the coins launched here are scams. It's saturated. The DEX is very low on popularity. What I mean by that is if you go on Photon and you click here, you have Pump.Fun and you have Radium, two main DEXs for now. Look at the market caps. On average, it's 4K for everything. Liquidity is 9K. It's all the same. It's all around the same at launch time. However, if you go on Radium, look at the difference in the market caps. 25K, 100K, millions, 7 million, quarter of a million. Liquidity, 40K, 77K, 70K, 76K, 34K. The difference in the amount of eyes on Radium is insane. So Radium has more eyes and more potential. That means more potential buyers on your coin at launch. But how the fuck do you launch on Radium? Because in the past, if you go on Google and you search and how to blah 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 Radium, launch a coin, create a coin, whatever, launch a token, you're gonna always fall into the fact that you need to be a coder. You need to be a fucking coder to do this, which kind of sucks, but it makes sense why Radium is so good because you need to be an official dev, a high quality dev. I call these a high quality dev. You need to be a coder. However, how can you bypass this? You can launch a coin on Pump.Fun, wait till it reaches 60K, and then it's gonna bypass the bonding curve and then go from Pump.Fun to Radium. However, your coin needs to, you need some solid marketing behind a coin that's gonna bypass the bonding curve. So how can you launch straight on Radium without being a coder? Well, you couldn't until this website came out, which is called coinflare.fun, which is a no coding required Solana token creator. Everything I've said so far, putting in the information and the fact that it has to be good. By the way, the PNG image should be ideally 500 by 500 pixels. I just use Canva for that. Description, I told you what to do with ChatGPT. You keep the decimals at 9, the total supply 1 billion. You plug in your socials, whatever, and you keep this as it is because you don't need to turn this off. Nobody looks at creator information, even the top traders in the meme coin space, the famous ones like Orange. They don't look at this shit. They look at this. They look at what pops up here. Because if you go here, look, this is a green check, which means more people are going to buy into this coin because you've disabled mint authority, freeze authority, and update authority, which means you're unable to mint the tokens, print more supply. So people are going to be comfortable with putting their money into this token because you're not going to basically do anything you want with their money after some time. So from there on, you just click create coin. It's pretty obvious. Some you connect your wallet. Mine's already connected for some reason, but I have already created a coin prior. See this is my token, XGAI, so new X Grok AI, whatever I did in the past video. I just haven't created a liquidity pool for it. Why? Because after you create your coin, your name, blah blah blah, you need to make a liquidity pool. This basically, like liquidity, initial liquidity, this is the collateral, basically what your tokens are traded up against. I don't know how to explain it in a better way, but every single token has liquidity. Boom. Sometimes it's locked, sometimes it's not. This is where the rugging part comes in, which I do not condone. This is an educational purposes only channel. I myself don't do this. But if you were to, hypothetically rug a coin because Radium has a lot of eyes and potential buyers, and you would want to remove that money, basically take out other people's money and put it in your wallets, you would go here, you would click max or 90%, it doesn't matter, and you would put in anywhere from a minimum of zero point 0.3 to, let's say, zero point 0.5, 1 or 2, 3 sol. I recommend anywhere from zero point 0.3 to 1 sol, which is a good amount, or zero point 0.5 to 3 if your narrative is bad. It's just going to help it look more chunky. And don't worry, you get this money back because you're the first buyer, let's say. And you click create pool. And then after you create your pool, you're going to click refresh. It's going to pop out here in these 3 seconds. If I were to launch it, XGAI would pop out right here with my description, my picture, everything, and it would be tradable. I've done this many times for educational purposes only, and you would click a minus button that would pop up here that would say remove liquidity, and you can remove however much percent you want from 1 to 100. I, for educational purposes, only have done 100% in one go and removed all the liquidity and profited a shit ton from this. I'm not saying this is ethical, but you could make a lot of money from it, or you could remove liquidity in small increments while the coin is growing. So do with this information as you please. Stay safe. God bless and see you in the next one. By the way, there's a Telegram in the description if you want to ask any questions. Bye bye.